Well, I was originally born in England. I lived there for my early years of life, and moved to Barbados when I was about 11 years old.
How come?
My parents separated, so my mother and I moved to Barbados. And I've been living in Barbados ever since, basically. I visited, you know, been back to England to perform and visit and so on, but Barbados is my home now.
You're Bajan.
Yeah. I met Alison Armstrong, who at the time was young blood. He's no blood. You know, drop the young. And he was a Calypsonian at the time. He was a young Calypsonian. And
how did you meet him? How old were you?
I was, wow, I must have been, I was a little girl. I was like,
You're a young blooded?
I was a young blooded, yeah, definitely. But I like to see him, and I've met him at a youth fest type thing. And we became friends, and I don't know, somehow we got onto the talk of singing and performing and whatever. And I sang to him over the phone.
Okay.
And he thought that I had a really good voice and that I should enter teen talent competition. So he entered me into the local talent competition.
Wow.
Helped me choose all my songs. Was there with me at rehearsals. You know, he really guided me through a lot. I was doing ballads, and I went to the finals, and I placed third. And after that, then he said, well, you know, we have this band called Square One, and we're looking for a female vocalist, and we think that, you know, we would like for you to join the band. And I said yes.
How old were you at this point?
I was 16.
16?
So, yeah.
So what was mommy saying about her 16-year-old joining a band?
Well, she knew that, she knew I could sing, and she knew that I loved to sing. And when I told her about it, she said, well, she needs to meet the guys, you know, I'm the only female in the band. And she met them, and she let them know, you know, exactly what was going to happen, what the roles were supposed to be, that I'm the only girl, and I was also the youngest in the band, so they had to make sure and, you know, look after me properly. And they took that to heart, for sure, for all the years that I was in Square One. I hadn't really gotten into soca in the beginning. As I said, we were a hotel band, then we became a nightclub band, so we were playing a lot of covers, and we had to learn to play all kinds of music. Soca was always there, but we still had to learn, you know, we still had to play reggae, hip-hop, R&B, pop, whatever it was for the club scene. We actually had a wicked weed medley. Even though none of us smoked anything, we didn't smoke no weed, we didn't smoke cigarettes, nothing. But we had a wicked police in helicopter, I search for marijuana, all of that. I stalk a sensibilia, bird growing in my backyard, and you know, and the crowd getting on. I mean, we just knew, you know, you knew how to pick these things and just execute, you know. When I really got into soca, which would have been my real first major release, first hit would have been Ragamuffin in '96. And I had people like Gabby and Red Plastic Bag and Grainer to look at. Soon after that, well, just before, Edwin George was just coming to the forefront across by. Masha was there all along, but there weren't any females for me to look to. In terms of my development as an artist, Terry Arthur was also very instrumental. He joined the band later down. He wasn't there from the beginning, but he was the one that wrote Ragamuffin. And he was the one over the years, like from '96 through that time, that helped me a lot in terms of my delivery, how to capture an audience. He would give me a lot of pointers, because being a musician on the stage, he could obviously see stuff that I probably wouldn't be able to see. So he would point out certain things to me, say, well, you know, make suggestions. And also in my recordings, and so, because he wrote and produced quite a few of my songs, Iron Bazadi, all those kinds of tracks. So in my delivery of my songs, he would help me a lot in that. So that's how, you know, I learned to really execute soca properly. You know, it's just like any other music. There's a particular way of delivering the music to get across the right vibe and, you know, the right message and whatever message it is that you're trying to get across. Soca is very much male dominated. It was very, very much male dominated. When I first went to Trinidad, all the major bands were fronted by men. And it wasn't just one guy, it was like 3 guys up front or 2 guys up front. And if there was a girl in the band, she was basically there as decoration. She was there to look good, to sing background vocals, but not to be up front, not to be commanding, not to, you know, to take charge. When I came into it, one of the things that Terry used to say to me, even when we were doing cover versions of other people's songs, he would say, Alison, don't limit yourself to doing just songs by females. You can do songs by guys too. So I did all kinds of songs. I did songs by Sizzler, by Anthony B, by, you know, all kinds of tracks. Because as long as it was a good song, you know, I was chanting, I was rapping, I was doing everything. And he encouraged me. He was like, do all kinds of different things because it is going to make you a better performer. It's gonna give you a wider range. You know, you'll just be that much better as an entertainer. And he was right. He was absolutely right, because you're not afraid then to tackle certain things. I still watch other artists. I still like to watch artists in soca and all types of genres of music, to learn certain things from them, to see how they work in audience, to see how they put together their show, you know, how they relate with their audience, all that kind of stuff. It kind of happened. It wasn't really something that we kind of sat down and said, well, Alison is going to front the band. It was through my music, basically, that brought me to the forefront. After Ragamuffin, you know, I had tracks like Ay Ay Ay, In the Meantime, Sugar, Togetherness, Faluma, you know. These are the songs that really brought me to that kind of just made me come to the forefront. And we always looked at Square One as Square One, but we realized that when we were on shows, when we were being advertised on shows, it was starting to be advertised as Alison Hinds and Square One. And that was something that happened. I guess that's how people saw the band. That's how people saw me after, you know, the songs and the consistency as well. You know, it wasn't just a matter of I had, you know, a couple of hits, maybe 1 or 2 years, and then there was a lull, and then there was, you know, it was like consistent every year. We were bringing out music, we were producing hits, we were able to do that. There were a lot of highs. There were a lot of highs. We did a lot of things together that we really, really enjoyed. Going to Sweden and performing for the King and Queen of Sweden.
How did they respond to that?
Wonderful. They had a great time. They were on the dance floor for the whole time. It was great. We went for this millionaire's birthday. He had like a whole weekend for his birthday, and he had theme nights every night. He had a Caribbean night, and flew us in just for that, for this Caribbean night. And the King and Queen of Sweden were his guests, were part of his guest list. And so that was definitely, you know, a great high. Our visit to Suriname, the first time that we went to Suriname, which is where we got the song, which is why we had learned the song Faluma in the first place. We went for this tour, and we were there for a week, and we wanted to know what was the most popular song there, so that we would be able to make that connection with the audience. And the promoter sent us the song, and we learned it. And I had to learn it phonetically, because obviously I didn't know the language that it was in. So I just had to kind of, it's a language called Suriname Tongo from Suriname. There are various slangs, different languages. Dutch is the main language, but then there are other languages. What you hear at the beginning of Faluma was the actual audience, that live performance that night.
The first time? That
was the first time that we had performed it, and the people just lost their minds completely. That was an awesome, awesome trip. We just had, so we had bodyguards, and we had, you know, we had the works. It was crazy, but it was really, really, it was memorable. That's something that I would never ever forget, and I don't think any of the members of Square One will ever forget that visit, because it was just so good. It was full of culture. Suriname is so full of culture, rich with African culture and Chinese, and you know, everybody stays really true to their culture.
Get ready to wine! Get ready to wine! Follow my ding ding.